What's up, everybody? Back in the shop today with a full house. Glad everybody showed back up and watching the videos. If you're not already subscribed, if you're new here, just go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and share it with your friends. We got plenty to work on, and I got plenty to show you. I'm gonna flip the camera around and get into what we're working on this morning. All right, this morning, if you watched my previous videos, I painted a set of scoops for a 05 to 14 GT500. Painted them black. They're made by Cervini's. They come with this mesh grill, and right now I got the templates laid out. I'm going to be cutting them, tracing them out and cutting them, and then putting them behind the openings and fastening them with screws. So right now I'm going to got them laid out, so I'm going to start tracing them and get them put on. All right, I got the wire mesh secured in the back. Let's see if I can flip it around here. Hold on with some screws. 5 on the big vent and then 2 on the small one. So these are ready for the owner to come pick up. I'm not sure if he's wanting me to stick them on there or not. I'd rather him just stick them on there. But now I'm going to go and into the booth and tape up the Volkswagen and put some color on it. All right. So you seen the time lapse that I primered the '01 Mustang, the quarter and door repair, and the wing. I'm going to primer it a second time, so I'm going to block it with 320 and the wing also, and I'm going to run and get some fiberglass mat and resin so I can repair the holes in the, or not repair, I can cover up the holes in the trunk and get it ready for primer. So when I go to primer the door and the quarter and the wing the second time, I can primer the trunk. I should only have to primer it once. And before I primer, I'm going to work on the Dodge. They're not, the flares don't need primer, but the rocker panels are textured and he wants them smooth. So I'm going to prep them for primer also, because it's going to take probably a couple coats. So I'm going to go ahead and, or a couple times of priming before they get completely smooth. So I'm going to go ahead and start getting some primer on them while I'm spraying some. So that's the plan this morning, and we'll go ahead and get after it. Okay, if you're watching the time lapse and wondering why I was taping the two-sided tape on the back of these, when I'm working the stuff like this, it's got double-sided tape already on it. When you're working and you're blowing the sand and dust off of the parts and stuff, the air pressure sometimes blows the red backing off of the double-sided tape, and then your double-sided tape gets all dirty, and then it don't want to stick when you go to put it on. So all this does is protect that from happening a little bit more than anything. And then when I'm spraying the primer and the paint and stuff, it's not getting all over the double-sided tape when I get these edges. So it's just a little extra insurance that I do that way, to make sure that when I go to put it on, what it's going on, that it sticks really good. So as you can see, these are textured pretty good. And what I'll do is I'll scuff them up real good with, probably scuff them up with 320 and a Scotch-Brite pad too. And then before I scuff them up, I'll wipe them down with paint thinner. Just to try and get anything off of here that may stop the primer and everything from sticking to it. So I'll do that first and then get to scuffing. Okay, I've moved into the booth in here and started working on the trunk lid. Went out and got some fiberglass and resin. Now what I did is I taped the back side of these holes. I grinded the outside of the holes down so it made a, could you say, just a dip in the fiberglass material. You can see the grind marks are still further down than the outside where I sanded with 180. And what that'll do is help keep actual fiberglass holding the hole together instead of it trying to sink down into the hole. And what I'll do is I'll cut out some small pieces of fiberglass to push down into the holes, and put a little bit of resin in, smush the fiberglass down into the holes, and then put a larger piece on the outside to blend into the fiberglass on the top. And then block it down, and then I'll come over and swipe the fiberglass with some filler to smooth out all the small pinholes and stuff that the fiberglass will make. And it should stay and shouldn't have any trouble with it shrinking and showing the holes anymore. And then I'm going to start blocking the primer on the door and quarter, and get ready for another coat of primer. right, you see in the time lapse, I blocked the door and a quarter. I'm going to go around the outside edges where the primer stops. I'm going to sand it with 400 and get it ready for another coat of primer. I'm going to sand this up here with 400 too. That down at the bottom, you see me didn't sand 400 also. I've got the fiberglass put on. Then I took, I believe it's 36 grit on my angle grinder. Took the majority of it off so I wouldn't sit there and be sanding for a long time. And then I started to block it, and I was like, well, this is going to take a good while. So I got my 3-inch sander, put a piece of 80 grit on it, and knocked it down real quick, because all I'm really doing is knocking off the excess and leaving the glass that's going to be filling the hole. And see how the fiberglass that I put is larger than where the hole is at? That keeps from it when it starts to shrink, it keeps from seeing just the hole ring lower than the rest of it. It goes out here to the outer edge around the hole, so if it tries to sink, it can't go nowhere because it's attached to around it. If that, I'm having a hard time explaining it, but if you understand it, good, because I'm not doing a very good job at explaining it. But now what I'll do is I'll swipe it with some filler and then block it, trying to keep my spots as small as possible to prime. That way I don't have a large area of primer, but it shouldn't take much filler to get it nice and flat. And then I'll block it out, get it ready for primer, and then get some primer on it by the end of the day. All right, I got everything ready, set up in here to prime. You can see how the spots look after I blocked them all out. And then just like everything else, feather edged everything with 320. And then I'll keep my primer to the edge of where the sand scratches is. Wings ready. The rock guard's ready. I'm going to put a little bit of primer on the scoop. It's got a couple nicks in it. And the door and the quarter is ready. So I'm going to spray some primer. That way tomorrow I can sand everything and then wash the car and booth down and get it ready to paint tomorrow. Had to work on my little heater this morning. It wasn't working. It would throw a fault code of the igniter not working. Actually, all that was wrong with it was a wire that came loose from the igniter. That little heater I've had probably 17 years, maybe 16, 17 years. Still running real good. Got it nice and warm in here. Had to turn it down. But I got everything primered, untaped. I'm gonna start sanding just like the Volkswagen. I'm gonna sand all the primer with 400, just a little bit past the primer, and then the rest to be 800, because that's where I'll just be putting clear. I'll stop my blend right past the primer. Same with the quarter. And the trunk, I'm probably gonna just sand it with all 400 because it'd be a little difficult trying to just blend here and blend there and then just put the quarter or clear. So I'm gonna do it a little bit different. And I don't really want to have to take his emblems off, but I don't see any. Well, I mean, that wing does cover all of this, so I could back tape it right here. But if he was to ever take the wing off, he would have a a tape line right there. That may be something I ask him if, because I'll have to do a lot more prep if I take his emblems off and go down the back side of the trunk. So that may be something I talk to him about, because the wing would cover up the tape line. We'll see what he says. But I'm gonna get to sanding. I'm gonna get these rocker guards. I'm gonna get these out of here and start getting this thing ready for paint. All right, I got the car all block sanded and ready to paint. I went ahead and washed out the booth, washed the car off real good, got it all nice and clean. You can see by the dullness, I've sanded all the quarter, the whole door, and the trunk. I went ahead and I didn't take the time to ask him, because I just went upon it myself, and I didn't really want a line there, even if he said it was going to be all right. So I went ahead and took the emblems off and the third brake light. These trunks, they have a place where I can break the clear right through here, and I don't have to worry with all his tag or anything like that. Got it over here. This is the only place that's really going to have color next to the original or paint, which I say original, but everywhere that I've sanded on the car has been painted before. So I'm pretty sure the whole car has been painted at some point again. But hopefully that the color matches good enough to where you won't be able to tell too bad right through here, which you'll have the wing here too. So hopefully it's close enough where you can't really tell. All this back here, except for just a few small places where I went through, I'll just dust some color on, but the majority of it I just have clear. Same with back in this area, I'll bring the color right over top of the trunk and top of the quarter, and this body line be my blend area there. And then I'll blend this quarter out here, and then the door out right through here, so the front of the door match the fender. So yeah, tomorrow I'll come in and I'll get it all taped up and do some painting on it. So you've seen I got the 01 GT washed and ready to be taped up and painted tomorrow. When I come in here, the S550 is going to be going into the booth after it is done. So I untaped it, got it ready to where it'd be able to be moved. I got the jam ready to be blended in, burned in, and it's going to stop right about up in here with the color before I put the door and stuff on. Because like I said in another video, the jam right under the quarter here, and this jam in the trunk is going to get sprayed first, and then I'm going to hang the parts on it, and then prep everything to paint the fender, door, quarter, trunk, rear bumper, and the pillar here. So got the bumper and the trunk over there, ready to be sanded and prepped for paint. So I just wanted to get this all straightened out to where it'll be ready to move. Got the Nova back in here. The weather outside is pretty nasty right now. We're getting quite a bit of rain. I moved the primer rocker guards out here, and I started sanding a little bit on them to see how much that primer filled the texture in. And if you can see, I sanded with 320. So most likely sand all of them and then prime them one more time, and they should be nice and smooth. I could maybe get away with painting them with just one primer, but I want to make sure they're real nice and smooth, so I'm going to prime them twice, sand them twice, and then paint them. But that'll do it for tonight. I'll see you in the morning. Well, as you should be able to see in the video here, not every paint day is a good paint day. I wanted to blend this door, but everywhere that I sanded with 800 grit to do my blend, where I started blending my base coat out into the door, the base coat started fisheyeing. So I had no choice but to go to work it and go all the way to the edge of the door, which the blend didn't look good at all either. Where it was trying to fisheye, you have to kind of like dust it on there, and this color is probably the right color, but the way I was having to put the base on to get the fish eyes to go away, I probably lightened the color up too much by the way I was spraying it. And going all the way to the edge of the door, you can see the difference in the color. So this one's not going to be done. I mean, in certain angles, it looks like it matches pretty good, but I'm not going to send it out like that. I'm going to match it better. See how much darker the fender is in the door. It'll probably be the same way up to the sail panel and on the other side of the trunk too, and the bumper. So I'm going to have to, I'll probably untape it where I don't have the ability to bake paint in here. I'll probably have to untape it, let it cure out some before I go to sand it and repaint it, or I'll make myself even more of a mess. So what I thought was going to be a good Friday, turns out I'm going to have more work to do on this one. It even wanted to fisheye on the wing, and I'm not sure why, but part of painting. Some days you have no trouble, and then some days just can't get right. So while that was drying in there, I come out here and I started prepping the trunk, and I'm going to be working on the bumper, getting it sanded and ready, because even though that is going to need to be fixed, and I'm going to have to let it cure out a couple days before I can fix it, this is going in the booth tomorrow to start doing the painting on it, start on the jams. But since I'm waiting to get it in there, I'm gonna get the trunk and the bumper ready, and then the front fender and this pillar to the quarter ready. I'm not going to sand the quarter yet because I'll have some overspray from the jam, spraying the jam and this jam. So I'll sand this quarter after I spray the jams. But also have the inside of the door to paint too when I do the jelly jams. But I'm gonna keep prepping this and keep worrying in my head about the Mustang in the booth not being the right color. All right, back in the shop this Saturday, and I've moved the S550 out of the spot that it's been in the big shop for the last couple weeks, and I've moved it over into the booth. I've got the 01 Mustang out because like I said earlier in the video, that car is going to have to cure out a little bit before I can sand it. And again, I want to make sure the paint is cured out good enough to where I can sand and scuff and fix it, because I don't want to cause myself more problems than I already have with it. But like I was saying, the S550 is in here. I'm going to get it jacked up put on jack stands and get it taped up and the jams sprayed on it. That way it's got a good amount of time to dry before I paint the outside and do the blends on it. I don't know if I mentioned earlier, but I got the rear bumper and the deck lid, trunk lid prepped and ready to do the blends. The door needs sanded on the outside, but I'm going to do the jams first, but the jams are ready. The side skirt, I still have to scuff it. I'll probably paint it when I do the jams of the car. I was debating on the rear bumper, just burning it in, maybe burning the clear in, maybe right in here instead of clearing the whole bumper, just because it has a few spots that are messed up that are through the paint into the plastic black bumper. The tag is wearing on it on this, and then it's got a few little places like where the I think that may be the tail light or something's hit it and nicked it. And in order to cover that, I would I'm going to have to spray white over it and then orange over top of it, because this orange is really transparent, and to cover that black would take quite a bit of paint and coats. So I kind of wanted to stay away from that, but if I just didn't put paint on it and I cleared the whole bumper, then the black would be cleared over. I kind of, it bugs me. It probably won't even be noticed because the tag's going to sit right back over top of it and you won't see it, but I'll know it's there, and it bugs the crap out of me of doing stuff like that. But last night I started sanding the rocker guards for the Dodge. They're coming out pretty smooth. One more coat of primer on them should be good. I'll probably end this video off here. If you've made it this far, like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you subscribe if you're wondering how that '01 Mustang is going to turn out, what I do to fix it, because it's going to be on the next video. I'm trying to get it back in the booth after the orange car, and so make sure you come back and find out what I do to get that looking right. Thanks everybody for watching, especially if you're watching this long.